Hello, everybody. This is Jay Hersey. Welcome to today's webinar about our AcuFastSale. On the webinar with me is Alec Bagdasarian, our VP of Solutions, and we're looking forward to sharing with you what we've put together. Before we jump into it, I would like to give you a little bit of an introduction to who IG is for those of you that aren't familiar. We're based in Southern California and are a partner of Acumatica as well as Sage with their Sage 100 product. We are serving organizations with domestic and international operations and have been providing solutions for business process management for well over 25 years. We have a dedicated staff that to make sure that both project and support needs are met and expectations are met. That's where the most important thing is. Let me make a comment here. Stop for a second. I heard a little background noise. I just thought somebody could mute for us, please. And then we're here today to talk about a robust development team that we have built that has both published functional enhancements for the Acumatica platform, a number of which are certified by Acumatica, as well as our staff provides custom programming services to many resellers for their clients' needs across the country. All right, we are. Alec, I'm hearing some background noise. I don't know if it's your headset or what. Okay. So pardon the interruption there, folks. We have several Acumatica certified developers. 2 people on our development team have earned Acumatica's MVP award, including Alec, who's with us today. And ultimately, I think what this is important to say is that we really understand the conventions that Acumatica sets forth for development, and it gives you confidence that the product will run efficiently, play well in Acumatica, and not only right away, but as enhancements go through the pipeline. Okay, also, I'm hearing a little echo of myself.
Okay.
I apologize. We'll work on that. IG was awarded last January at the Acumatica Summit the Innovation Partner of the Year, something that took us by surprise, but we're very proud of. Guess you get rewarded sometimes for putting your head down and going hard. A glance into the enhancement library that we have. We're going to talk about our fast sales entry, but we have a work order management, essentially a manufacturing light, can turn the Acumatica platform into a perfect fitting rental processing solution for companies. Container tracking, that's a big black hole for many companies, can bring visibility to that. And organizations that are doing any kind of rebate or consignment or royalty processing have some great functionality for that. And we just recently announced our Google Gmail integration. We also have fast sales entry and credit card processing and shipping automation that is aimed at the less than truckload area of the shipping process. Okay, what we're here today to do is to talk about how we are helping organizations streamline the charge entry process and credit card processing. It is really focused on warehouse counters, basic point of sale, high volume environments. We do that very, very well. Where there's a need for keeping track of memberships, that's something that we're not really, and points that are earned, and some of this higher end stuff. That's really not where we're playing, but we're really the basic blocking and tackling. We're doing very well, particularly in high volumes and where streamlining is required. The application is able to scan items, use touch screens for on pictures, produce invoices and receipts, operate cash drawers, reconcile, as we commented, process credit card transactions, and bring into visibility what's happening there at the counter. Okay, Alec is going to go over a few slides to orient you as to what the product looks like, and then go into a live demo. If you have any questions, please type them into the GoToMeeting. We'll make sure that they get answered before we get off. And we're all trying to improve our level of play here, so we're going to pop out a little survey, very short survey to you. We sure would appreciate a chance to get some feedback on what you think we are doing well and what you think we might be able to do better, or maybe something we haven't thought of. Any kind of feedback's welcome on that. All right, with that, I'm going to pass the ball over to Alec, and here you go.
Great, thank you, Jay. Okay, as Jay mentioned, I'm going to go over a few PowerPoint page slides, and after that, I'll start showing the program. Jay covered enhancement. So we give you the ability to load items into AcuFastSale transactions very quickly. And we have set up a system that allows for processing high volume transactions by taking out the inventory and payment at the time of transaction entry and creating the Acumatica transactions at a later time. We will support devices, credit card terminals, processing EMV chips and capturing signatures. We would do the cash drawer reconciliation for you, so we'll show you at any time how much money you're supposed to have in its register. We allow processing credit card transactions where these are just a true point of sale retail environment. You don't want to add the credit card to Acumatica or the vault. We will let you process credit card transactions and add the credit card to the customer's account and the vault, as well as using an existing credit card in Acumatica to pay for a transaction. We have a so payments are processed by different person.
Alec, there's I'm hearing a noise like a connection issue. Could your headset be having a connection issue?
I don't know. Can perhaps I was hearing some noises. Could you mute your speaker? Maybe that's what's causing it as well.
Yeah, I have been muted, and it's coming and going on yours.
Pardon? My apologies for that. So.
Pardon these technical issues, folks. I guess it's our turn.
Okay, well, if it becomes an issue, we can cancel the webinar and just schedule for some other time. So I guess.
Okay, I'm going to mute.
Yeah. And we'll give you the ability to print receipt transactions. We have on our roadmap the ability to add new customers on the fly, as well as let you define the type of transaction that you're processing by clicking on icons, and let that basically streamline some of the processes by allowing for certain inputs. So we have a few default screens here. One has to do with the workstation, whether or not you are going to process credit cards, whether you have a receipt printer connected to it. If you want to print a message, if there's a drawer that you need to open, as well as basically what's the location, whether you want to automatically set the customer number to the customer number designated here, whether you want to set the salesperson from the workstation, the user that is logged into that workstation, or you want to just use the customer's salesperson number, whether you're forcing full payment. So these are some settings that sets the behavior of the program as you're processing transactions, similarly with the tax zone and so forth. This is the screen where we are showing the screens that deal with opening and closing a register. So if you open a register, you give it a starting balance. Then at the end of the day or when the shift is over, when you close that batch that is generated, you enter the amount of cash you have, and the system will print a reconciliation report showing you how much money you should have in the register. This is the fast sales entry screen. So basically what we do, we allow you to click on icons and load the items or to scan the items. So if you have a barcode scanner at the register, you could just scan whether it's fixed or wireless, or you could just scan the barcodes and it would load the items into the screen. Notice that if it's a serialized item, you can scan the serial number, it would load the serial number. If more than one item with the same serial number exists, we will let you select the specific item if more than one item has the same serial number. So we would show you the serial number for the scanned item, so you'll see that. We'll print a receipt, receipt, which is like 2, 3, 4 inches wide, depending on the printer that you choose. Notice that you also have a return icon. So if you click on the return icon, then as you scan items, those are processed as negative sales. This is the payment screen. So you have the ability, when you come to the payment details screen, you have the ability to enter multiple payments. So a transaction could be paid with half check, half credit card, or half cash, half check. Or if it's the credit card, the payment type is set up for a EMV chip reader. It would ask you to insert the card there. And basically you also have the cashier function where let you just bring up a transaction that you process in the fast sales entry and enter a payment for it. This is where you set up the behavior of the payment method as to what the system would do with it. Again, processing centers, and that's a quick overview. The PowerPoint based. Now we're gonna go to the program and look at the program. So this is the fast sales entry program. So in this setting, I have it automatically load the cash customer when you come to it. So it's done to streamline the process even further. If you click on this icon, then you can define as many of these icons you want to link them to Acumatica items with their pictures. Notice that it would load the items. If you click on it, it would do the same thing. Or if you have an item number in here, you could just scan it and basically it will do the same thing. It will increment the quantity here by one. If it's a serialized item, the system, what it would do, it would load the serial number for you. So if I, let's say if I have a serial number SRF23 in the system, similarly, it just loads the serial number as the item and so forth and so on. So it's very easy to process the payments. Once you're done scanning the items, you click on the payment detail, and what the system would do has the icon, so you can click on it and process payment. So it defaults to the check. That's the one that was selected, but for the terminal, so you can enter an amount and say they're paying $20,000 with a $20,000 with a check. So it basically processes that. It would add that, and I can just select cash and say they're also paying us $1,000 cash and pay that. So basically the system gives you the ability to have multiple payment types, and it will process each one of them. Once you have the ability, to process the transaction, print the transaction at this point, and see the process completed, it assigns a number to it. Q88 got assigned to it. So you have the ability to just let you continue with the transaction and create an AR, or in that example, it asks us for if what we want to do, whether we want to continue that the full payment is not processed. Then we have this program called Process Fast Sales Orders, which basically you could come to it and select it. Of course, you can set up a job with automatically schedule runs it. And if you click on process, it would go ahead and it would create the transactions in Acumatica for that Q88 transaction. So if I come to my sales orders, I would see a transaction generated, and it would basically would tell me that it's the fast sales entry 88. What are the items that got processed for it, the payment that got created for it, and on, and it's all completed transaction. So the purpose for doing this is that we give you the ability for situations where you have thousands of transactions that you're processing in a given day to process and move the inventory, do the issue transaction, create the payments, but not create the Acumatica sales transactions until a later time when this basically process program kicks in. So you can have a situation that during the day you're just processing your transactions, that at the end of the day you're running this program, or you could set up a job and as transactions are processed, update them. So if I come to this program, now perhaps we could do the same thing, and you could just click on an item, and I click on a return and process the return, and notice that on the same transaction, we're processing quantity 1 of an item and a -1 of an item. So notice that it's telling you that you're processing return, and it's like a toggle. So if you click on it, then it switches back to processing items. So it just easily goes back and forth. And if you come to the payments, it will do the same things. You can come in here and say, you know what, we just paid $400 cash, and it will show you the change due. So you could go ahead and do that and process the transaction again for the generated transaction. So we've created a situation where it's very easy to process sales and returns on the same transaction going back and forth. We talked about a cashier function. So if I do the same thing and process a transaction, just click on an item, load an item, I could process it without entering any payment, and then I could go to the I could go to my transaction and then process the payment at a later time as a cashier function by just coming in here and say fast sales payment, enter a new transaction, select the plan. So again, this is for cases when you have a cashier function, it would tell you it's for $500, and you could do the same thing, enter a method of payment here for that transaction. So transactions are created in Acumatica for us, and for the entered transactions as the process fast sales order program kicks in. Your register reconciliation lets you come to it and select the register and the batch that you're processing, and it would show you how much money you're supposed to have, cash and so forth. And you could basically at this point print the report and see the transactions, and then basically at some point close it and then open a new different batch, so you have visibility over what transactions you're processing in the system. Open and close register, again, you could come in here, and once you close and get, then it will not let you enter additional payments into that transaction until you open it again, but you would assign a different batch number, batch 2, batch 3, batch 4, and for each batch of, say, you have different people coming in, and you want to assign each one of them a different, batch to keep track of the information. You could do that. So pretty straightforward setting. We have created a system that gives you the ability to process transactions quickly. This is a program that we've developed. So this program, we've given it the functionality to process discounts, special pricing, tax, but it just processes the transaction, creates an IN transaction, issue transaction to move the inventory to a different location as you click on process. So the system knows that that inventory is no longer available in your showroom, and we create the payment until this program actually goes ahead and basically the sales order transaction. Now, in our roadmap, we have the ability to decide what type of transaction in Acumatica you want to create from RR to a sales order transaction or an IN transaction. So that'll be coming very shortly. And as part of those, we'll give you the ability to even further expedite the system. So if you don't need to create a sales order and confirm the sales order, you just need to create an IN, we would do that. So it would further streamline the process. We're also on our roadmap, we have the ability to load transactions from an existing sales order. So if it's a will call situation where an existing sales order is on the system and you want to load the item here, we'll give you the ability to load the items in here and process them, as well as if you enter an item that you do not have the quantity, let you select that item and create a sales order for that remains on the system to be processed at a later time versus the other items that you ship and update. So this is, we're very excited about this product, we had an earlier version of it, but there was an issue with speed at the stores when Acumatica was processing the entire sales order and shipment at the time of when people were standing in line. So we came up with this program to make this process more streamlined. So with that, Jay, that's all I want to show, some processing, some transaction sales and credit on the same, showing you multiple payments, showing you returns and so forth.
All right, very good. Thank you, Alec. And I don't see any questions here, but as I talk a second, if you want to pop a question in there, go ahead, please. I wanted to make sure that everybody is aware that Acumatica enhancements are built into Acumatica. They're not called from outside of Acumatica. And that if you have more questions, we're very happy as they relate to a specific project you have. We're very happy to get on a call with you, talk to you about it, and even provide a demonstration if that makes sense. Okay, so I don't see any other questions, Alex. So with that, let me say thank you and good day to everybody. See you at the summit.
Sure, see everyone at the summit. Thank you.
Yeah, bye-bye.